Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We're going to do the beer stuff here. I don't know why I said it like that. Hidden River. More Hidden River in this piece. This one's kind of like the weirdest label of the bunch. It's like a weird bunch of characters on top of a staticky cup and reverse more characters. I don't know what's going on. What I do know is we're drinking a few Shiny Lights. This is their Baltic Porter with coffee. I have not had a Baltic Porter in a while. And I'm kind of pumped for it. With coffee, okay, Baltic Porter. I don't know if it's a lager or not. Some Baltic Porters can be lagered, some can be ales. Hidden River Brewing Company. It comes in at 8.8%, and it was canned in October. There we go. Let's give this a pour. I miss coffee beers. Like, just coffee and beer. You know, a lot of times it's pastry level stuff, but... label-wise, they're just, I don't know. I like them. Half of them don't make sense, but I still like them. Beer-wise, I mean, it looks the part of a nice Baltic Porter. I poured it hyper-aggressively because I'm weird. And as far as this beer goes, almost 2 fingers. My fault. Infinite fluffy head with this rich, nice darkness to it. Little brown mahogany combination. Exactly what you'd expect a Baltic Porter to look like. So, give it a whirl. Give it a nose. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Rich roasted malts. A little bit of almost like milky vibes to it. Because it kind of makes sense because of coffee. I like milk. I like cream and sugar. Coffee kind of person myself. You're definitely getting coffee as the first thing that comes up front. I should have mentioned that first, but I kind of want to lead back into it. There's almost this soft little like oaty, lactosey thing in there. I don't think it's actually something that's added to the beer. I think that's just the way the beer comes off and the perception that's coming off for me. And then it just really works really well with the way that kind of coffee works in this nice like roasted maltiness. Nothing too hyper aggressive, not over the top. 8.8%. But it is a rich, dark, roasty beer with a nice, big, rich coffee presence. To me, it comes off as a richer, darker roast kind of coffee. Not something not like a breakfast blender, donut shop blend. Regular blend, something a bit more richer, a bit more bolder, a bit more me. Just dive in. Cheers, y'all. It's delicious. Honestly, it's very delicious. It's got this really cool trick that Baltic Porters can pull off. Kind of the same way some lagers. I'm not saying this is lager, but some lagers can pull off. It has this kind of fuller, richer initial mouthfeel, and then the finish is relatively clean. Or let me rephrase that: quick, not clean, because a lot of the flavors here linger. But it's an easy, drinkable, darker beer, let's put it that way. It has this kind of fluffy creaminess to it, but then when you go to actually drink it, it's just like really quick finish. There's this absolutely fantastic balance between a roasted malt and a roasted coffee here. It's kind of almost absolutely impossible to separate the two. Because you are getting this rich coffee vibe from, again, we're talking about, I'm not a coffee connoisseur, but this tastes like some gourmet shit. Who said that? Jules? Or Winston, the Wolf, said that too. Some gourmet Pulp Fiction shit, the way this kind of coffee comes off, because it has this kind of like not ultra roasted beaniness to it. So this is where my like little coffee knowledge will get in the way if I'm saying stuff wrong. But for me, the coffee that I've really enjoyed is a dark roast coffee, but not a hyper aggressive roast. Like, it's a richer roast, a darker roast, but it's not like the bean has been roasted to the nth degree. It's almost, there's still a little bit of moisture in the bean. There's still a little bit of like fleshiness to the bean that has been roasted completely out of it. So it has this kind of more richness to it, and that's the way the kind of coffee comes off here. But when you talk about the actual roasted malt side of things, there's a big richness to that too, and they kind of peak in a very bisecty Venn diagrammy way, in that they kind of like the flavors on both sides of those, while markedly different as a whole, meld together and form like a Voltron of superpower roasted malts and coffee, for the best way I could put it. Again, there's this weird kind of thing about this. Is there kind of like a soft little oaty lactosey thing going on in this? I feel like I'm perceiving this. To me, that kind of speaks to like a kind of splash, a half and half in a coffee, which is the way I drink it. So it just appeals to me in that way. A beautiful sweetness level on it. A little bit of bittering from both hops and a little bit of bittering from the roasted malts, but nothing even close to getting heavy-handed. Just enough to balance the beer off to have a little bit of, a little bit of balance. It's definitely a sweeter beer, but it's not overly sweet because of that bitterness. Man, this is really good. Honestly, it's been a while since I've had a Baltic Porter. It's actually one of my favorite styles. Old school Framingham from Tex Abbey, Hoogerstraat and Pooter, one of the more classic Baltic Porters from over in Europe. There's some really well done Baltic Porters, and when they're done right, they can be absolutely magical. And this is one of them, honestly. I got a bunch of beers from Hidden River. They sent me off this and a bunch of other ones. And they had a super high ABV stout with cacao nibs, and I liked it. It was just a little bit too herky-jerky, a little bit too hot for me to kind of go gaga for it. So I was really curious to where this one was going to land, because this is the other dark version of a beer that they sent me. As far as Baltic Porters go, as far as coffee beers go, it's up there, man. Up there. One of my all-time faves as far as coffee beers go is Gunner's Daughter from Mass Landing. Different beer, for sure, but man, as far as flavor, as far as deliciousness goes, on par, man. On par with Gunner's Daughter, and I think that's very high praise. It's a beer I don't drink a ton of, just because I don't know why I don't pick it up. It's low ABV, it's really tasty beer, but man, such a good beer, and this is definitely, it's honestly the beer, and I've said this before in reviews, and I genuinely mean it when I say it, it's the beer I needed, not the beer I wanted. It's like, when I'm going to review tonight, I'm like, I'll do a lager, and I'll do a pale ale, and then let me finish something dark. I was like, I guess I'll do this Baltic Porter. Winner of the bunch. It's exactly what I needed, something rich and dark. We're 2 days removed, or 2 days away from December. It is like sub 30 degrees outside. I have the heat on in the shed here, but we're still not even up to a 70. We're like 69 degrees right now. So this is definitely hitting a spot, and honestly, yeah, it's good stuff. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better Baltic Porters I've had as late. It almost defaults to yes. Mount Rushmore status, yes. But I think if there's decent amount of competition, it would still be yes. One of the better coffee beers I've had as of late. Maybe that's a little better way to frame it. Yeah, still worthy of being up there. Value and availability, Hidden River, brewery only, and leave you with, if you like what, will you like this beer? If you like coffee beers, I'll honestly open it up to just that. But if you're a Baltic Porter fan and you dig on those beers, or low AB, relatively low, I'd say change, but coffee beers, rich dark coffee beers, I think you'd really dig it, honestly. So there you go. We're reviewing the books. Matt, Massive Beers. Type in at Massive Beers. And, I should make that Matt Massive Beers. at Massive Beers. I don't know. I'm weird. Type that in the social medias. You can find me. Hidden River. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? I would love to hear all about it below. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of coffee goodness right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.